Hey modders, welcome back to ModifedRoll. We are sponsored by DM Dice. Use the code ModifedRoll or follow the link in the description to get 10% off all your adventuring needs. We're also sponsored by Arcanist Rum. Check them out and use code ModifedRoll to get 15% off all purchases and free shipping. In the last session, our party evicted the last of their infernal squatters and went about getting the house into a more livable condition. Looking upon the daunting task of cleaning the house, the party did what any one of us would have done and went and found somebody to do it for them. House thoroughly scrubbed and clean, the party moved in and now are awaiting summons to the keep. We rejoin them now in episode 40 of season 2 of ModifedRoll, A Royal Summons. Once you guys have settled in, you sort of like put your kit down, get yourself cleaned off from the fight. You clean it with the dust and the muck from your skin, using the various the large bathroom downstairs. I'm sure some of you are using it, or like the various ensuite rooms, and you get yourselves prepared, just in the knowledge that at some point you're likely to be summoned. And as the day stretches on, the sun just starting to dip, almost touching the wall of the city, you hear a knock at the door.
There's somebody at the door. Somebody at the door.
Sinclair answers it in a towel.
You were wearing clothes, but you just took them all off to answer the door. You come to the door, like hair still dripping wet, and stood in the doorway is a sort of messenger. You can tell that he wears a little pin that indicates that he is sort of in service of the crown, obviously coming from the castle. And he sort of is taken aback when you open the door. Like he was just sent to the Asper estate, and all of a sudden a 8-foot tall half orc, half Goliath opens the door in a towel, and he is like in shock.
Can I help you, young man?
He just nods and hands you a letter.
Thank you.
He nods and begins to move away.
Excellent. Sinclair will go inside. Mail's here.
A mail's here.
No mail's here.
The mail? Who's...
You have to speak up. I'm wearing a towel.
Top-notch Simpsons reference. One of my favourite jokes of all time in The Simpsons. Well, Sinclair, as you step in, like looking the letter over, you can see it does have the, like, not the king's seal, but like the seal of the crown, which shows that this is paperwork sort of written in the business of the crown of the kingdom.
Sinclair will call around the house in the main like stairway because he doesn't know where everyone is. It's from the king, or it's got the crown seal.
Okay.
Assuming everyone congregates.
I'll come down the stairs.
Just one moment.
With that.
Because he's get out of the
with
bar.
My hair in a turban.
Because Hazel takes his clothes off and puts a towel on.
Put a towel on. This is a towel affair.
Juliana has like a robe that she's just had in her bag this whole time, and like a towel in her hair. And she's like coming down the stairs like, oh, mail.
Like a big fluffy white robe.
All right, everybody assemble in the sitting room.
What type of towel is Twilight wearing?
Twilight's in a duvet.
Nice.
Yeah, so you guys assemble and you have the letter.
What does the letter say?
So who's going to open it?
Just sat at the table looking at the letter.
Yeah, just...
Nice seal on this.
Okay, I'll open it. Sinclair opens it.
You open it, and there is no writing on the letter, but there is an intricately designed mouth, sort of designed on in the center of the paper in ink. But when you open it, otherwise nothing is there.
Okay.
Oh, this is junk mail, isn't it?
The door rings again, like the doorbell, door knocker, whatever you think it would be, goes again.
Shit.
Sinclair wraps his towel tighter and goes to the door.
Another messenger is at the door. Similar pen, obviously different person. And as you open the door, he sort of looks you up and down, and then up again, and just says "Valechia," and then turns and walks away.
Gesundheit. It closes the door.
Yep.
Some poor fellow talking gibberish at the door. Valekia or something, he
The
said.
second you say Valekia, the mouth on the paper smiles and begins to speak. Good afternoon. You have been summoned to speak before the king. Please arrive at the keep in the next half an hour. That is all. And then the mouth goes still again.
Oh shit. We're going to the palace, guys. Oh no, we're going to the keep.
So, was there a beep? I think someone left a message after the beep.
Oh, I can't do a beep. But actually, funny enough, I just said it's roughly the same thing. Actually, really, it's not a palace. Actually, very different thing, obviously, to like a castle and keep. You would know that Belgravia does not have a palace of any kind because the king is a man of very practical mind, and he would consider something like a palace to be a waste of the city's resources. He is not a vain man in the slightest. He does not believe that the city needs something like that. There is like, the keep is large, and it does have like big banquet halls and stuff, so that they do occasionally host parties. But for him, something like a palace is a waste of the city's coffers.
Oh, it's a very modest keep then, with a banquet hall.
I mean, it's still sort of well appointed. Like it is, the Belgravia and the human nation has been involved in a lot of wars, and actually, you would know that Belgravia was like founded and sort of built for the defense of the realm. It was like originally built to help defeat a powerful dragon, and the current king is like the descendant of them. His name is Fayin Dragonsbane. He was like the descendant of one of like the original kings who like founded the city and killed the dragon that was ruling over this land beforehand. And Fayin and most of his ancestors have all been very pragmatic and practical rulers, in that like if it doesn't assist the city in any way, he finds it to be a waste of money. He's always been a king of the people.
Okay. So would that, if we were trying to make a good impression, would it work in our favour if we weren't as like flashy or showy?
I mean, you can wear what you like in front. Like, he's used to dealing with like lots and lots of nobles, which range from like the most practical and dour people you've ever met to people who would not be seen outside of their house without being decked in about a year's salary's worth of jewelry. Like, appearances aren't what he cares about. It is your actions and your character.
I best grab my robes.
Just drops the towel and walks out.
I'll go and get my armour. Sinclair drops his towel as well.
Swinging in the wind.
What are you going to wear, Twilight?
I don't know. What are you, like, what kind of vibe are you thinking?
I'm thinking hero core,
Ooh,
like
yeah,
put together look. Because like if Sinclair's wearing his armor and Kazusa is wearing his robes, like we've got to wear our quote unquote uniform. So I think I look like as much of a, I don't know what my role is in this group to be. Anyway, that's a big question.
You gotta look heroic.
Yeah, I'll look
That's
heroic,
your role.
and you look holy. Yeah, exactly.
Oh, how do I look holy? I'll find some big robe or something to wear, and then I'll just look very solemn.
Slay. I think that would work really well. Anyway, see you in 5.
Yeah, I have a big robe.
Oh, you have a big robe?
Bye! Yeah, I've got a big robe with stars on it.
Oh,
it's really
perfect.
cute.
That's the one.
Yeah, I'll wear that with nothing underneath.
Ooh.
I'm just kidding.
Okay. Anyway.
Just remember, we're all naked under our clothes.
See you soon.
Hope there's no vents. Bye!
Going commando to the king.
Swinging in the wind. Sinclair, you forgot to put your twerking trousers on.
Oh, not appropriate in front of the king on the first date.
Turn around too quick, you might take out a servant. So you guys get dressed up and you retire relatively quickly, because you know it is like a bit of a walk to get back up to the keep, so you have to get ready quickly. But it sounds like, I don't know if the rest of you putting on your armor, but it sounds like at least Sinclair is putting on armor, and you're all going sort of dressed up to look your respective adventuring rules, as it were. And when you arrive, you've been summoned to the keep, and you would know that you don't go to the administrative buildings for this. That is like a separate building in the courtyard. In this sort of, there are a couple of buildings here. It's got like the main keep itself. It has like a barracks on-site training ground, the administrative building, storehouses, and there are like specific buildings, sort of like a bar, but like specifically for the soldiers, somewhere for them to go and like relax and unwind. But the keep itself has multiple like rooms set aside for specific things already discussed. We have things like the banquet hall, but there would also be like the reception room where the king would sort of meet with honoured guests. But you would suspect this is being treated like a summons. This would be treated like a I can't think of the word now. But essentially, you'd be like brought before the king in the throne room. So you arrive at the keep, and you can see there are already the guards at the gate have been made aware of your arrival. You're sort of directed in, and as you approach the keep itself, the doors are opened before you, and you're brought into sort of an atrium entryway where you're approached by a servant, and he comes over to brief you on what is about to happen. He's like, yes, hello, welcome. I believe you are the adventuring party we've been advised will be meeting with the king.
Indeed, that is us.
Excellent. I'm sure you're very excited. So we will, in a minute, you'll be directed down to the throne room where you'll be brought before the king to deliver your message or request or whatever it is you've brought with you. Once inside, please do abide by the customs. You will be expected to bow whenever the king acknowledges you. We are not expecting perfection here. You are obviously from outside of the city. But please show respect where possible. And by all means, speak as and when the king addresses you and as you feel comfortable. The king doesn't prefer ceremonial formalities. So please, once he has addressed you and begun speaking, feel free to speak freely, unless, of course, he says otherwise. But please, follow me. You'll be directed in. And he takes you down a couple of hallways, very large, sort of marble floors with these tapestries. And as you walk along, you see the tapestries depicting various points in history of the city. And as you approach these large, ornate double doors, brass inlays, you see the two largest tapestries you've seen on either side of the door. One showing the city under attack by this great red dragon, and on the other side, a human in gleaming armor standing over the corpse of said dragon with a sword driven through its chest.
I kind of glance at that and just...
I mean, you're well aware. Red dragons outside of the monastery, not very nice.
Yeah.
But you are sort of directed, and there are more guards here and another attendant. You can tell this is someone's... You sort of, for those of you who have been in and around sort of royalty or sort of scenarios like this, you would know this person is, their job is going to be to announce you whenever you enter the room. So the servant who guided you here sort of gestures to them and says, please, I leave you in my colleague's very capable hands. And he steps back down the hall. And this man in like this very formal sort of ruffled shirt and long-tailed sort of teal jerkin, white socks up to the knee with black shoes and gleaming buckles, steps forward, very pristine. It's like, hello, yes, how shall I be introducing you all to the king, please?
Oh.
You may address me as the Paladin Sinclair.
Of which god, sorry?
Paylor.
Excellent, thank you.
We really should have a group name by now. You can call...
I mean, you get the distinct impression when he's asking this, he is very specifically asking how each of you wants to be introduced.
Okay.
Although a group name, yeah, maybe come up with one.
You may call me Cecil.
And he looks expectantly for a second, realizes there is nothing more coming, and turns to the other two. He's not going to be rude.
Or you can call me Cass for short, if needs.
Very kind, but I was... That's fine, thank you.
You may address me as Gilliana Rostal.
Ah, the Rostals of Theraseed.
Yes, the very same.
Ah, excellent.
And I am Twilight Petrichor, cleric to the goddess Salune.
Okay. Professional.
She's trying.
I just have my one name. You with your multiple names. I just got my one.
Listen, you could introduce yourself as like Kazisol and then like of the monastery if you wanted to, but that's entirely up to you.
Kazisol's badass. Just Kazisol.
Kazisol, one name, like Beyonce.
I'm like
Thor.
I'm Kazisol, monk of the monasteries, representing Sardior.
For the record, Thor isn't just Thor. Thor is Thor Odin's son. As I fix my glasses. Excellent. Please, once the doors have been opened, I will step in and introduce you all. As I call your names, please step into the hall. And he turns and nods to the two guards who are there, who both, boom, boom, with their spear butts on the ground, reach out, grab the doors, and push these big, heavy doors open.
I just whispered to Sinclair next to I didn't realise we were going with professional names.
That's how I introduce myself to everybody. Do you not?
No, it's just Kazisol.
Think of something cool next time.
As you two are like whispering that to each other, you see into this hall. Again, grand, but not overbearing. There are these great stone pillars which have been carved, again, like the tapestries you've seen, highlighting like important points in the history of the city. And you see sort of standing along the wall are numerous guards. Not like an overbearing amount, but there are a handful of guards keeping watch over the hall. This place has numerous windows on either side, illuminating the bright white stone which you've seen throughout this building across all of the keep. And a large red plush, like gold embroidered carpet leads from the door all the way to the far end of the hall, which is maybe sort of 30 feet away. As it raises up, not super high, maybe only like 2 or 3 steps, it raises up onto a dais upon which sits this large throne. And the only reason it's large is because it has been set in the mouth, like the open mouth of a dragon skull. And this throne rests in the center of this. Up top of the throne is a large, muscular man wearing very formal, kingly attire, lots of gold embroidery and like lavish fabrics. As he sort of not lounges, but he sits in the throne, elbow resting on his knee, hand in his chin. You see, he wears a heavy cloak on his shoulders with like a fur embroidered around his neck, and resting atop black thick curls is the golden crown. This man, obviously Feyin Dragonsbane, king of Belgravia.
Is he hot, Jordan?
Yes.
Yes!
No question.
Are his muscles as rippling as Sinclair's?
I would say probably not, because he doesn't. You would take a stab in the dark and say that while this man loves to train, he probably doesn't get as much time as he would like being the king.
Is the king single?
But he is still. You would actually know he is. He is a broad-shouldered, like 6'2" mountain of a man, and he is a man. Like he is like full human. He has like a close-cropped black beard that has like the occasional little like ornamental like clasp sort of like in these little braids at the bottom. And as he sits and watches you all come in, you can see even from a distance his like gaze is intense. But the man who sort of took all your names steps into the hall. For His Majesty, we have the Paladin Sinclair of Paylor's Light. And he gestures to you, Sinclair.
He will bow.
Mm-hmm. Do you step into the room?
He does.
So you step into the room and just begin walking down the sort of carpet along the centre of the floor. Kazisol, the monk of the monastery.
I bow and I follow along.
Giliana of House Rostol of Theraseed.
She'll curtsy and like flutter her eyelashes and carry on.
Twilight Petrichor, cleric of the goddess Solune.
I'm gonna look very solemn and bow my head.
After you have stepped into the room as the last, this fella steps back out into the hall and the doors close behind you. The 4 of you walk the length of the hall, your feet, the sound muffled by the thick red carpet underneath, until you're stood a few feet before Thayin Dragonsbane, who nods in your general direction, which you could probably take as a general sign to do like a formal bow as like a welcome.
Sinclair will bow.
Caesar will bow.
Gilliana will curtsy.
Curtsy.
Twilight will curtsy as well.
And as you'll do that, Faye like nods his head more deeply as a sign of respect. And from up close, you can see now his like intense gaze with these sharp grey eyes, sort of boring into you. And you see he has a very light scar on his cheek, quite obviously a long one that has healed a long time. Doesn't mar his features anyway. Just a very light one across his cheek, just above where his beard starts. And you see as his hand rests on his chin with numerous rings adorning his hand, he sort of sits back, hands on thighs eventually, and says, "I have been told that you have an important message for me."
Sinclair will bow. My king, we were instructed by the Lords of Kern to deliver this letter to you, and he produces the letter.
He sort of like, with a gesture of his hand, motions to like a servant who's been stood off in the wings, who steps forward, puts his hand out to take the letter.
Sinclair hands it over.
He takes the letter, steps up to the king, and sort of bows, reaches the letter over to the king, who takes it. Takes a second to like note the seal on it, and just with a thumb flicks the seal off and opens the letter and begins to read to it. Would you say anything as he's like beginning to read it, or would you just allow him to read it in silence?
Allow him to read it.
Yeah.
Cool. It takes him only a few minutes, and all of you can give me an insight check.
Oh shit.
Oh, fuck. That would be 5.
21.
What was Twilight's?
5.
Oh, they said 25. I was like, fuck.
No.
23.
And 18.
Twilight is
Yeah,
looking
so
at
pretty much
the wall.
everyone but Twilight, unfortunately. While his features are like schooled into passivity, like a skill he has obviously trained over years so as not to give anything away in the courts, there are a couple of times you guys can just make out like the, ever so slightly the twitch of an eyebrow or the like the tightening of the gaze as he's obviously reading something that is slightly worrying. He finishes the letter, folds it again, looks over all of you, and like you can see he is very much like, you have been weighed, you have been measured, sort of gaze passing all over all of you. He then leans back, sighs, sort of looks up into the sort of ceiling above him, takes a deep breath. I was wondering why we hadn't heard anything from Cairn for some time. But this is not a conversation for here. He gestures to the servant again, who steps forward and bows towards him. Bring them to the reception room. I will speak with you all in private. And he gets, without waiting, he steps up from the throne, cloak billowing behind him as he stands, and he immediately walks out through a door. And the second he stands up, you guys realize that everyone else, like the soldiers, all take a knee and bow, the servants all bow. And he begins to stride out of the room. Once he has gone, everyone else stands back up again. The servant waits for like a polite amount of time before coming over to all of you and said, yes, if you'll please follow me. And he takes the same door the king left, which is like a little door set off to the side from the throne, and you guys are taken to a much smaller, much simpler, like unadorned, heavy oak door. And the servant knocks on the door before you hear the king's voice from the inside. Enter. And the servant opens the door for you all and gestures you inside, and you find like a small study, like a little reading smoking room. It is much more intimate in here. There are only maybe 5 or 6 chairs throughout the room, one very large one with a little table next to it. Obviously not like a big desk, but like a little table, which has a decanter and glasses on it. And as you're stepping inside, you can see the king has discarded the cloak he was wearing. You see him now in his full sort of large, broad frame as he stands over this table pouring a drink from a decanter. And he looks up to each of you and just sort of like signals to the glass, obviously asking, would anyone like one?
So yeah, Sinclair will nod.
Caesar will nod as well.
Gilliana will nod, sure.
Twilight will nod because everyone else nodded.
The king picks up like four crystal glasses, like holds four of them in the palm of his hand, pours the drink into each of them, and then just like hands each of you a glass before like gesturing to the seats around the room. As you guys step in, can I get a perception check again for everyone, please?
This is crazy.
Oh my god, I'm not seeing anything. Twilight is out of her brain at 5
She's
again.
panicking.
I've got a 13.
13.
19.
7.
Cleanna, you for a second think you see something unusual, but as you like turn to like focus on it, you think it's just the light playing a trick on your eyes. Like you look over and it's just like the curtain that's been. You also see like the curtains in this room have been like pulled mostly closed, so there's only like little shafts of light coming in, and you realize it was just like the edge of the curtain moving in a breeze. But you all sit down. The king, once he's like poured everyone a drink, sits down as well, just with the glass in his hand. Again, just deep breath, takes a drink. So, I have read young Jace's letter. While inexperienced in his family's business, I have never taken him for a fool. So please, tell me what happened in Cairn.
Well, my king, first to understand Cairn, you must understand what we found at Knight's Valor Keep.
He nods for you to continue.
At Knight's Valor Keep, we found that the town had been corrupted by the lord of that area, and he was enslaving people through rings. He was using these to turn them into mindless, essentially, husks of people for his bidding. They put up a fake job listing, which is how the four of us met, saying about killing creatures in the area. It was a ruse for them taking the local townspeople from the area, and we suspect using them as some sort of sacrifice in some sort of ritual for these rings. We found people chained and tortured, and the Lord had lost his mind, but we saw to him.
The king nods, and as you sort of pause at that point, he says, "All very well, but what then of Cairn?"
Well, with this information, my king, we found similar apparatus in the house of Lord Carlin. In his basement, he had a magic circle which took him to some sort of blood ritual cave, in which he summoned some sort of abomination from a pit and disappeared. We suspect this creature has something to do with these rings, but we are not 100% sure at this time.
Can I get another insight check from everyone, please?
Oh my shit, oh my shit, oh my shit.
Oh my god, 5 again! That's
Get
the
a different
third
dice.
one!
Tventai, unnatural Tventai.
Unnatural 20.
Unnatural 20.
Oh, damn. All three of you, the king nods, and all three of you see an almost imperceptible flick of the eyes. And Gilliana, you realise he flicks his eyes to that same point of the room that you thought you'd saw something in earlier.
What the fuck? What do I do?
But with that knowledge, the king sort of nods and says, "Yes, that corroborates what Jace had put in the letter. There was a little bit more information there, but he indicates that this is of growing concern and something that we should be worried about here in the city. He fears it is a rot that has perhaps spread beyond just Cairn. If true, it is indeed worrying. And I will say, beyond Jace's letter, it corroborates some other strange things that have been noticed." At this point, it's not even a flick of the eye. He turns and looks at that spot of the room. And Gilliana, you could have sworn you saw something there, but when you looked, you realised there's nothing there. But now, a man who's just been there the whole time sat so imperceptibly still, so naturally fading into the background, as he turns his head, you realize that he's been sat there the whole time. There's been no magic involved. It's just that as he's been sat there, what you took to be the arm of the chair was actually the sleeve of his coat. The billowing of the curtain you thought you saw was him shifting his legs position. And he just turns and says, yes, my king. Some strange goings on in the nobility here. And for the rest of you, this person just appears to have fucking appeared.
Holy.
Sinclair wants to shout, but remains quiet because he's in the presence of the king.
My eyes give everything away of I am stunned.
Twilight gasps.
The king looks you over and says, apologies, this is our spy master, our head of intelligence, Wilburn. Wilburn just looks at all of you and nods, and you see this, like, if you could distill, not boredom, but if you could distill just normality, just something so incredibly unremarkable into a person, it is this. He is wearing like loose, like light brown, grey, black. Like you guys have to like focus to be able to even tell what the clothing looks like, and you realize it is just like very basic trousers with like a loose shirt underneath with like a very light jacket. He is. At first, you look at him and you think, is he bald? No, he's got hair. Does he have hair? What color is it? You like struggle to remember anything about this man. He is so incredibly like boring to look at. If you turned away from him, you would struggle to describe what he looked like, even his features. Like, did he have a beard? I don't think he had a beard. He definitely had two eyes. I'm pretty sure he had two. What color were they? Just like that. Just pure boredom distilled into a man. But he nods to each of you and says, yes, there have been some strange goings on with the nobility within the city and some occurrences which may or may not be related to this. But it is worrying that whatever has happened in Cairn was to such a degree that Lord Carlin himself was involved. It is definitely a concern that we need to look into. The king nods. And once again, there's that pause as he sort of weighs all of you up. Lord Fenwick had much to say of you in this letter, much praise. You have proven yourselves, and I would say at this point you carry a dangerous amount of information in your little heads. I can see two ways forward. Either we put you in the cells and leave you there, well, taken care of, or we implore you to continue doing what you have been doing, but well rewarded and well taken care of, full in the knowledge that the Crown will be keeping an eye on you. Would you have a preference? Can I get one more insight check, please?
Oh, shit.
6.
That was better than 5.
10.
21.
18.
Giliana and Kazisel, while he isn't like smiling, there's just a quirk of the lip, a sort of inflection in the voice. He's like winding you up. Like, this is him making a joke.
That's so funny.
I kind of just give a little twinge of a smile to say that I'm catching on to what he's saying.
Just an ever so slight curling of the lip.
Giliana will say, I definitely think that we all agree, Your Highness, that we would be very grateful if you would feel the honour to employ us as your humble servants.
This time, he takes like a sip from his drink and then a big, broad smile. I was like, of course, I would be more than happy to bestow such an honour upon you. I believe you have just arrived in the fair city here, and you are getting settled into Lady Asper's estate. I will allow you some time to settle in while Wilburn here works out where you could be best employed next. In the meantime, please enjoy the city, and you will be called upon in short order. And like as you guys look back over, you have to like struggle to like even pick Wilburn out again. Like you know where he is, you know what seat he's sitting in, but even as you look back, you're like, where has he gone? No, he's still sat there, I'm pretty sure. Just so boring. But the king sort of says, but please, I do apologize. I am used to being harried by the nobles of the city, and I've grown accustomed to a certain level of formality, but you have done the kingdom and the continent here a great service, and the gods only know where we would be had you not intervened, and I do not wish you to think me ungrateful for what you have done. I understand that the Asper household has been in little use recently. I am more than happy to furnish it with any equipment you require while you stay here. If you let our administrative department know, I'm sure we can sort out any equipment within reason. You guys would know this doesn't just apply to like furniture and stuff. That you guys would know when he's talking about equipment, like if you guys like need training equipment, or if any of you want to like dabble in like fucking alchemy, they can supply you with alchemy equipment. This is like we will sort you out with like the basics, provided it's within our power to do so. And of course, any further jobs that you might complete in the name of the crown will be compensated. And for now, and he gestures to a little box on a table. Would one of you go to the box?
Oh, I'll go.
Yeah, you go over to the box, you open the box. It's like a little token, in like not like a fucking like funfair token, but like a little disc that has been embossed with the crown seal. If you take this to the Orcs Arms, they will kit you out with any specific equipment that you might require.
Wow.
This is my way of saying that you guys can pick up a weapon or armor of a +1 nature.
Oh.
Each, but only one weapon or one armor each. They will keep you out with equipment that you might require for the future.
Wow, Your Highness, we are absolutely so grateful to be given this opportunity and for all of your kindness. And if I speak for all of us, we are very happy that you are taking this seriously and that we get to help prevent any more harm coming to anybody innocent.
Of course, the safety of the people of this kingdom has always been my top priority. I will not mince words. If this is as dangerous as you have implied, this could be a grave danger, not just to the people of the city, but to the continent at large. I'm not lying when I say that there are other things that could be tied to this, and gods above, I hope they are isolated incidents, but if these are a grander conspiracy, a grander scheme on the size of the continent, then we are very much in danger. So far, you are the only adventuring party with direct involvement that we're aware of who has survived. He just sort of lets that hang in the air for a second. I'm going to be employing you because you have survived up until this point, and we are putting a level of trust in you. That trust will only extend so far, and again, his eyes sort of flick over towards the spy master. There's not an implied threat there, but he's like thinking, if you guys like try to fuck us, then we have ways. You know what I meant. Quite all right there.
Yeah, I was just gonna ask if I could ask something really cheeky.
Mm-hmm.
I want to scope out whether I should ask if I'm gonna get killed for asking her. Does he seem pretty like, I don't know, I want to make like, because he was like cracking jokes. I'm like, maybe he'll be a bit like lenient. Does he like feel like he likes this, or?
I mean, yeah, like so far, like I would say from the insights you got earlier, like insight checks you did earlier, yeah, he is being like quite candid here. Like he is like telling you like what are essentially state secrets, because you guys are already like involved in the state secrets. Like he's being quite candid, he's being quite open. He's not going to try and like fucking gaslight you guys. He's being like, yeah, no, shit's going down. You guys have already managed to get yourselves involved, so fuck it, we'll pay you to stay involved at this point.
I want to ask a cheeky question.
He nods.
Well, that's not what Gilliala said. She goes,
okay.
Your Highness, I think we're all... How do I word this? I think we all are in agreement that this is a very dangerous task. And I don't know. Well, I know the rest of my party agrees that we don't want to be one of the names of the. We don't want to join our fellow adventurers who have not survived this far. We want to make it through to the end, and I think the best chance that
I should clarify. I don't refer to people who have died in our service.
oh,
These are people who have died. People who have fallen while getting involved in what we now to believe a grander scheme.
absolutely.
They weren't hired by us. You were the first group who has made it to deliver a message to us. Everything else has been gathered through our spy network.
Absolutely. And as the very first adventurers to be employed in this position, I think me and my party would appreciate only if you could find the time for some extra, maybe possibly getting some extra training from the palace. And I mean, your friend over there looks very, I'm going to say it, cool. And I myself could use some skills like that. And I know Sinclair here is very, very talented at, I don't know what you do, Sinclair.
God things.
He's a very talented.
I bisected a lich.
He's a very talented fighter, and I know that Your Highness is a very talented fighter, and he may appreciate some extra guidance in that respect to give us the best chance of surviving this honor of a challenge that we have we're all involved in now.
He nods, see it sort of in agreement. Of course, while you were employed with us and while you were staying within the city, you are welcome to. Training with myself might be a bit difficult. I have many jobs to attend to, but I'm sure we could arrange training within the city for each of your various skill sets. I'm just going to point out, we're just going to be using that as a sort of reason to explain your leveling up. I'm not going to be magically giving you guys fucking proficiencies and extra skills. That's not how this works. But of course, you are welcome to train with our most competent while you're within the city. And it should be said that while you are on tasks provided by us, you will be working in the name of the Crown. You'll be given certain accessibility that others would not, although in certain circumstances where quiet is required, hush, then it will obviously be required that you do not name the Crown in any specific way, as this could cause issues. But you will be made well aware of this before each mission in question. That he finishes a drink he has and says, but unless there's any other questions you have for me, I will allow you to enjoy the rest of your drink here. I unfortunately have more tasks to attend to in the remainder of my day. But you are free to enjoy your drink, and we will have a message sent when we are ready to meet again.
Very well. We thank you for your time, Your Majesty.
He nods again, and of course, and thank you for your service to the Crown. And he nods his head deeply, not quite a bow, but nods his head deeply, and heads out of the room. And you hear him exchange a very quick word with the servant, pretty much saying, when they're ready, sort of direct them back out, and he heads off to continue with his kingly duties. Do you guys chat while you're finishing your drinks?
No, that man's still there.
I was going to see whether you remembered that or not.
Should I go up to this guy? He scares
me. If you want to
me.
go and speak to him, you can.
Oh my
He's
God,
just he's still just sat there.
Hi. She'll when people go for the bend it, hi, trying to get your attention. That's what she'll do.
Yes, hello.
I'm Gilliana, and I also like to sneak around, and I see that you also sorry, I don't know how to address you because I don't know who you are. I'm sorry if this is rude.
You can just call me Wilbrin.
Wilbrin. How do you spell that, Wilbrin?
Wilbren.
Wilbrin.
Yes, while you are in service to the Crown, you are in no way beholden to myself, other than I will provide you with information and some jobs, possibly.
Perfect.
A level of respect would be pleasing, but I would not require you to address me in any specific way.
Of course. Yeah. Well, it was nice to meet you, Wilburn. I think you're really cool. And she'll walk away.
As you're going to move away, it's like, you asked His Majesty about training. Obviously, as the spy master here, I am responsible for taking care of the kingdom's spies. If you wish, you can feel free to attend some of our training sessions if you like.
I would really appreciate that, Wilburn. Thank you very much. When do these take place?
I will provide the necessary information in the coming days.
Perfect. Thank you so much. I very much so appreciate your kindness in this situation.
He nods. Unless any of the rest of you have any questions for me, I unfortunately also have some work I must attend to.
I don't think so.
Then it has been my pleasure. And he stands up and leaves the room.
So we think.
Yeah. I mean, the door certainly opened and closed.
I'll just whisper to the others, very smooth, guys.
I know. I'm sweating. I'm sweating.
We just met the king.
I know. The king's hot, guys. He's hot.
So, well, I agree. The king is pretty hot.
Like, the king's hot.
Wilbur in the chair next to you. I also agree.
You're still here.
No, he's left.
Yeah, I was trying to get you a one-on-one with the king, Sinclair. Like, how cool would that be?
I know. He's got scars. I've got scars. Rippling muscles. What a date.
I know. Well, I was hoping that you would put a good word in for me if you went, but...
Well, who knows? He might swing both ways, you don't know.
Oh, yeah, actually, good point. I think that I would be a great queen.
So, yeah, you guys have now delivered your letter, met the king. You've been directed that you're going to be sent information in the coming days for a continued employment for the crown. But for now, you finish your drinks and you, I'm assuming, head back to the house, or were you planning to hit up the tavern?
I don't know, guys. What do we think? Celebration or rest?
A nice bath and a nice sleep, I think.
I think now we're employed by the crown. We need to maybe be more mature.
You know, we've already gotten into some fights today. Maybe we should have a bit of a rest, you know?
Yeah. Oh, I know. Book club in the new house.
Oh my gosh.
Wait, guys, we have like 20 rooms. We can make a library.
Oh my gosh.
That could be one of the things you request.
Book club members only.
As much smut as you can muster.
Oh my God.
Shall we ask the king if he wants to be a part of our smut book club?
Yes.
I think he would
Kingly
really.
club of
I
smut.
think he would really love it. I do.
I think that's the impression you got from him.
The walls will be filled with smut.
Would you guys hit up that blacksmith today, or is that something you would leave for another day?
Maybe tomorrow.
We can do that tomorrow.
Yeah,
maybe.
I want to make sure you guys have time to think about what it is you want.
Yeah.
But
If we go to an offie on the way home, get some tinnies, you know, that vibe.
a couple of wee bottles of Bucky.
We're going to need some food. We need to
get
stock up a bit.
I think I might get a vape.
It's this newfangled magic device. Fills your lungs with smoke. But it's magic, so it's fine.
Well, they'd have like shisha, wouldn't they?
Oh, probably, yeah. You could back... I mean, people will be smoking pipes and what was it the Hobbit smoked? Longleaf or something?
Long bottom leaf.
Long bottom
Or like
leaf,
mirth,
which was
mirth
just weed.
root or something.
Yeah, it was just weed. Crack cocaine. Oh, so do you know, as I'd said was now canon in our world from the panto, pixie dust like crack cocaine.
Incredible.
So yeah, you guys head back down into the city and head back to the estate, back to the house. And you guys settle in, you pick up some bits of food and maybe a couple of drinks, and you settle into the house. You maybe rearrange a couple of the rooms, find some of the more comfortable furniture and move it into a little room, and you all make some time to yourselves. You enjoy your book club and relax and just sort of settle into the city. You get used to the sounds of the city around you, sort of dulled a little bit out here in the sort of noble estates with all the trees around to dampen the sound. But it is comfortable, it is relaxing, it is quiet, and you are settling in. Is there anything else you guys would like to do on this first night in your house, or is the night just going to be reading away and relaxing?
Are there any training dummies in
There wouldn't
the
be
garden?
Yet, but that could be one of the things you asked for.
I think just chilling.
They all need to have a bit of cushion on the rear side, though.
Pushing for the pushing. So what was Twilight going to say before that?
I was just gonna chill in my room and like plan out what I want the room to look like. So like draw how I'm planning to lay it out.
And Sinclair?
For one thing, he's going to find any beds he can fashion into a big bed.
Push together. Again, you can ask for a big bed. It could be one of the things you ask the king for.
Yep, nice big bed.
A king-size bed.
Oh. Bed fit for a king.
Fit for 2 kings, yes.
A super king.
Slay, king.
Oh my god, is it gonna be Gilliana and Sinclair's race for the crown?
Seems like it.
And for Gilliana, anything else tonight?
She's writing a letter.
Ooh, do we get to hear what's in the letter? Or is
Not
that
now.
Like between sessions?
I'll write it in between and then I'll say it next session.
Because he's all likely be looking around, seeing if there's any training dummies. If not, then he's just going to go off and meditate and spend some time to calm down.
Sounds like a plan. You guys settle in. You begin to make yourselves comfortable in what is still technically the Asper estate, but also for now your home. You think about how you have now met the king of the human nation, which spreads far and wide on the continent of Verlaine. You're here in the seat of power of that kingdom, now working for the crown. And as far as you're aware, you have at least a few days before your next sort of missive, your next job. But for now, you settle in, you get comfortable, and you get to know your new home a little bit better. And that is where we're going to end the session. Well, that's it for this episode. Thanks very much for sticking with us. As usual, I would just like to thank Lixie B for our wonderful logo, and Jeff for all of the fantastic art for our characters in Season 2. Don't forget, you can check out more of Jeff's work on our online store, where you can find his artwork used on our stickers and t-shirts. Also a massive shout out to the Stormweather Shanty Choir for allowing us to use their song Drunken Sailor as our intro and outro music. Also a massive thank you to our wonderful sponsors DM Dice and Arcanist Rum. Find links to both of their websites in our description. And finally, a massive shout out and thank you to all of our Patreon supporters who continue to support us in everything we do. Your support means the world to us, and we hope that we can go on making fantastic content thanks to you. Our recommended podcast this week is one we're showing a little bit of bias on, but it is Black Teeth by The Transmissions. You can find them as The Transmissions on all podcasting hosts, and the current story they're telling is called Black Teeth. This is the story that I mentioned in a previous episode, where both myself and Pete will be voicing characters in this produced actual play. So the cast will be playing a game of Liminal, and all of the episodes are then going to be quite heavily produced with voice actors coming in to act all the NPCs post-recording. So we weren't actually involved in the game, but we were asked to come and do some voices for some of the NPCs after the fact. I've been super excited to listen to this. It's been really enjoyable listening back and hearing the story and hearing all of the bits that led up to our NPCs' interactions. So definitely go and check that out. That is The Transmissions on the various podcasting apps, and it is the story of Black Teeth. I should say a little bit more about the story before moving on as well, but it is a liminal story set predominantly in North Wales. It follows the lives of 4 supernatural investigators over a 50-year period, and it is a dramatised actual play. And yeah, it's been super fun to get to record for this. I'm looking forward to recording more in the future, but definitely go and check them out. Don't have much else to say this week, other than if you haven't already, please do, I'll ask again, go and check out our Patreon. You can just go and have a look. There's some stuff up there available for free, and we currently have that 7-day free trial at our +2 modified roll tier, which gives you access to pretty much all of the new things that we've been making since the end of last year. And I should say, since December, we've had over 40 pieces of content added to our Patreon. So we have magic items, we have traps, we have the character builders and the Folktale Fridays that Pete's been doing, which we have also recently had some art commission for, which was absolutely stunning. Thank you again to Jeff for those. But yeah, please go check that out, have a go at the 7-day free trial and see if there's anything there you like. But that is it for this week. Thanks very much for sticking with us, guys, and we'll see you soon.